Call the meeting to order of the Lancaster EDA. Thank you all for coming this morning and spending some time and letting us hear about your businesses. We appreciate you being here. And we will help you out in any way we can. If it's not financially, certainly we can direct you to other sources where you may be able to get more funding for your business. It's a fairly informal process. The first thing we're going to do is have a roll call. Sam Rice?
Here.
Okay. Taryn Bryce Rowland?
Here.
Lisa McLaughlin?
Present.
Okay. I know that Bruce Sanders, Tom Richardson could not make it this morning, and also Billy Barrick. I haven't heard back from Billy, but we have a quorum, so we can go ahead with the process today. The first thing I'd like to do is have affirmative on the approval of the meetings from January. I hope you all have been able to read those. I did not see any corrections, but I have a motion to approve.
Motion to approve? I'll second.
Motion has been approved and seconded. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
The financial status report from Don Gill and John Bateman. If you all haven't met John before, he's our new Assistant County Administrator with the focus on economic development. And it's great to have him here because we're really going to start rocking and rolling on helping small businesses.
Great. You guys will see that as of January 1st, 2024, the community partnership checking had a balance of $13,148.71. We recently deposited a check from Lancaster County Board of Supervisors from the poorhouse tract transfer of $60,000. And there was interest earned in January, February, and March of $3.81, bringing the new total balance to $73,152.52. So that's the ending balance as of April 18th, 2024, which is today. On the next page, you'll look at our domestic government unit CD with the beginning balance of January 1st, 2024 of $40,000. Credits interest earned in November, December, and January of $518.97, bringing the total balance of that to $40,518.97, and that's the ending balance as of April 18th, 2024, which is today. Looking at the annual revenue of approximately $16,613 from all administrative fees collected through the year on prior bond issuances, broken down as followed. The county 2022 bond, $6,250 due in August 2024. The Mariners Museum, $6,668 due in October of 2024. And then the James Berry Robinson School, $3,695 due in December of 2024. That's all I have on the financial report.
Okay, I'd like to hear a motion to approve the financial report.
I so motion.
I'll second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, John. We're going to have presentations now from previous awardees, and Brent Dawson, and hi, Emily, just saw you come in.
Yeah.
Good morning, Chairman Carter and members of the board, Mr. Bateman, Mr. Gill. I'd like to start by talking about what's been completed. We've completed licensing of Northern Neck Botanical Gardens through the State Corporation Commission as a not-for-profit corporation. These steps included the adoption of our Articles of Incorporation, our bylaws, and also receipt of our employer identification number from the IRS. I'm happy to inform the EDA that after several very long weekends studying nonprofit corporate tax code, we applied for and acquired our exemption from federal income tax and are a registered 501c3. And here it is. This is good. All right. Banking and accounting has been set up. And there have been some cost savings efforts that have saved thousands of dollars. First, I would like to say my wife Tammy has been a tremendous help by taking steps to educate ourselves about tax code, consulting with professionals, and completing filings on our own. We've seen substantial cost savings for the botanical gardens, and I hope those efforts show a pattern of good stewardship of EDA funds. We've got our website and Facebook pages, and those continue to be a work in progress. What's being worked on? We continue to work on site planning for the primary garden site. Since I first presented plans for the botanical gardens to the EDA, we ran into a bump in the road. We ran into some site location issues. Part of the grant we were awarded was meant to help fund site planning, design, and surveying, but those efforts did get delayed. The good news is we recently got back on track with the Hills Quarter site being the primary location that we're planning to develop. And I would like to thank Mr. John Bateman for his efforts in getting the ball rolling on that. He's been a tremendous help. There are also opportunities for the botanical gardens at the county's Good Luck Road property and other smaller satellite sites which will be used for the purpose of scientific studies of native wetland plants and living shoreline demonstration areas. We are in the process of organizing an advisory committee for the purpose of creating action plans, fundraising, and developing creative ideas for site planning. And additional fundraising efforts are ongoing. We have contacted people that have shown interest in providing support for the botanical gardens. And I will also get started on additional grant writing works very soon. What's next? We will present plans for the botanical gardens to the Lancaster County Board of Supervisors with hopes of entering into a memorandum of understanding. We do have pro bono legal services willing to assist us with entering into a long-term lease on the Hills Quarter property. We also continue to develop partnerships with civic-minded organizations that share our vision for the Northern Neck Botanical Gardens. And some of those partnerships would include Lancaster County, Virginia Institute of Marine Science, VIMS, the Garden Club of the Northern Neck Native Plant Society, Virginia Master Naturalists, Garden Club of the Northern Neck, and the Chesapeake Bay Governor's School. And that's where we are.
Good, thanks. I'm glad to hear that you're going to stay in the Hills Quarter area.
I am too.
I know we've got the Tri-Way Trail and other things, and of course you've got Compass there, and I think it's going to be a great addition.
Those two projects really complement each other very well too, I believe. Yeah, the Tri-Way Trail and the Botanical Gardens.
Have you been able to find a fundraising organization to help you out?
Yes, I contacted Lisa Freeman, who was recommended by Mr. Richardson, and she's been in contact with my VP about getting some organization work done to make the Botanical Garden a bit more attractive to investors.
Good. I'm going to ask my cousin. He was the chief fundraiser for Lewis Skinner Botanical Gardens. His firm was. And I'll ask him who you might also look at to try to get some funding, because I know they raise many, many, many millions, and that's a beautiful facility.
That would be fantastic. I really appreciate your help, Mr. Carter.
I'll just be in contact with you personally.
Thank you.
Not part of this board, but just to try to help get some more ideas to get funding.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, I will say that I live in Gloucester, and my neighbor approached me and asked me if about a botanical garden in the Northern Neck. So the word's made it out there, and some folks are excited to see the prospect of it. So
Good. It'll be a great addition to the county.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you. Any other questions?
No, that was my question. Thank you.
Thanks for the update, Brett. Emily from Rishi Yoga is going to present also. We had given her a grant previously when they were first starting a business, and just as an aside, I live in Whitestone, and I have taken advantage of their fine business, and can highly recommend if you need anything. Her husband, Ashley, is an amazing human being and helped me a lot with some of my shoulder issues and other things, so I support you.
Thank you, Roy. That means a lot. I'm very glad to say that I think we put last year's grant, we were awarded $5,000 from the EDA last year prior to opening our studio, and I think we've put that to really great use. I have just kind of a bullet pointed list here of things that we have done since then. All of those funds in entirety were used to renovate and open and stock the new studio. So the studio is there. It's been operating now for almost a year. We're coming up on our 1-year anniversary. So we have done that. We have joined and become active members of the Whitestone Business Association. And a big point that we have achieved since then is we've earned accreditation as a yoga school. So now we are able to certify yoga teachers and also supply accredited certifications for people who are already teachers and want to advance their education. So that makes us the only one in the Northern Neck. That's quite a lengthy and costly process, so we've done that. We are now offering teacher training programs. As we talked about before last time, coming into that space, there is an intention to also expand more out into the body fit space and potential there, which we have done. We've taken on, depending on the week, anywhere from 3 to 6 more group classes that we're teaching for the facility, and 3 or more private clients of the owner directly herself has been transitioning those to us. We've expanded our personal services to include Ayurvedic massage and personal training, which have been successful. Our weekly schedule now includes 13 different classes that we teach every single week, just in our studio. This year, February, March, we hit our record high for membership enrollments, which is great, and that helped us to surpass our estimates, our profit estimates for last year. Last year, we also hosted a retreat to Bali and took lots of our students from here and from neighboring counties, including Williamsburg, and so there were some people out from California and Arizona that joined us. That's been successful. We're planning another retreat next year to India, my husband's hometown. Our social media, our website has grown in its analytics. Last year, we hosted 6 completely free events to the public, and we also volunteered our time with the Lancaster Public School System and the Early Learning Center. We've taught a few sessions for the young kids and the middle school kids. We are expanding into corporate partnerships. We now have corporate partnerships with MGM International Resorts, which has been a big deal. We've done 2 sessions for them. We've got our 3rd one coming up in June. We're also partnered with a corporation called MC Dean, who comes here. They bring their company here they come here for holidays in the summer and the springtime, and they have us out to their property, which is really beautiful, to teach outdoor sessions to their staff. And we also have a partnership with an organization called UCAS, which is a rehabilitation program in Richmond that we meet weekly for virtual sessions. We have multiple relationships with local businesses, including Airbnbs, shops, activities, things like that. Our online teaching and training has doubled, and across all of our platforms, which we're trying to get everywhere online, we have only 5-star reviews, and we are up to over 35, and it's growing every day. We just got one yesterday, 35 or more 5-star reviews. Last year, we were not listed in the Virginia Living Best of Virginia voting, but we had enough people write our name in that now this year we've been listed, and I think the results come out this month, I think. I'm very hopeful that we will get that reward. I've gotten us listed on the Virginia Tourism Corporation Board and TripAdvisor. And of course, with our services, we're helping the community heal, transform, and grow. That's what we've been up to. Thank you. Any questions?
Yeah, Emily, I noticed in your request, it's a money for training and hiring an employee, which is one of our focuses at the EDA. Is this going to be a part-time employee?
Yeah, it will have to be initially, especially with training. There's a lot of training that needs to happen. Yeah. I haven't spoken anything about what I would like to do with funds this year. I think I can do that now, or I think I'm supposed to come back for another presentation in a minute.
It was my intention that she lead into her grant request following her presentation on her past request.
Okay.
But I can do that now.
Pardon?
I can speak now about what I would like to see happen with this year's grant request and what we would do with those funds.
Yes, certainly.
Okay.
You've got the microphone. So
Okay.
let us know.
Let me just say, you all have her presentation in your packet, so you can follow along if you
Yeah.
need to.
Yeah.
So the grant money we are requesting this year is primarily for, well, a few things, but primarily for increasing our visibility and helping us scale our business. So something that we would like to do is we would like to get our studio set up to be able to live stream our classes. So that requires some audio and visual equipment, which would be the large chunk of the money. I have done already extensive research on that and tried to eliminate the need for an outside company to have to come install and purchase and all of that. So I've been trying to inform myself. And I do believe that we can get the studio set up very quickly for that. And the intention behind that is to give our current community members another option when they can't make it into the studio, but also to give people an entry point into the classes, because we're finding that sometimes it's intimidating for people to come into the studio the first time, or it can be cost restrictive to come in for services. So an online option gives people a way to experience the service, view the service for more affordable and less intimidating, and then it will draw them in because they will be able to see that our hands-on, in-person classes, there's a lot of benefits to actually coming in the studio. What the live streaming will also do is give us a way to kind of streamline our teaching, so we can record classes when we're doing our retreats and traveling and trips, or we're teaching in other locations. And beyond that, it's going to help us get a larger audience, because anybody anywhere can view virtual classes. So we're trying to work on promoting our teacher training program, which is a big deal for this community because it would bring people from all over the country here for up to a month at a time. And in order to capture those people, we need to expand the visibility. So that's another goal of the live streaming classes. Last year, we were given the grant under the stipulation that we could not use it for any marketing and advertising. But I am requesting part of this money for marketing and advertising, and I wanted to kind of speak on the importance of that, because that is something that's very, very, very costly and very, very, very vital. So now we have our infrastructure, we have a good base, we have a lot of reliable word of mouth advertising, but we do need to start expanding that, and we need to, for example, put a sign out in front of the business. It would be great to have an ad on the radio. It would be great to be in a magazine. All of these things, but like I said, they are very costly. And that's money that, I'll remind you, goes directly back into the local community. So we would be hiring, local business for installing and putting in a sign. We would be giving money to the local radio, to the local newspaper, to the local magazines. So that would be wonderful. And with that, with marketing, we have hit kind of a roadblock with our website. I have, up to this point, done everything by myself for the website, and I think it's great, and I constantly learning and working on how to develop that, but especially if we're going to go live stream, it's really vital for me to get some outside input from the website to help that reach more people. So that is something else that is also very costly but very vital. And then we mentioned hiring, bringing in another employee, which I know the EDA really would like to see, job development in the county, and we would too. It's in your presentation. I'm not going to read it all out, but you can see currently what we are doing just by ourselves, and that it is time to expand and to hire somebody. And with the work that we do, there's a significant amount of hands-on training that needs to happen in order for us to scale our business in a way that we feel is safe for this community. So hiring someone and then also outsourcing some of our business tasks. I think I've covered everything. If anybody has any questions about any of that.
Absolutely. So,
Yeah.
as far as the AV equipment,
Yeah.
it looks like you're asking for $3,500 for that part of the request. Is that the total cost of this, or just is there a match that you guys are going to put in place?
That
in addition
is,
to those funds.
that's what I've budgeted out for the equipment
Okay.
that's been necessary. I can send that along also. I can show you the equipment and what we would need exactly each funds for. But that would be the total, I would hope. But there's always unforeseen things, especially with AV, when you start installing things and then you need this and that.
I
And
guess my better question might be for me to ask, what do you anticipate a matching contribution from Rishi itself? In terms of, so you're asking for $10,000, how much do you anticipate spending on your own that would, in addition
an
to this?
unquantifiable amount of time, energy, and funds. All of our funds have gone back into our business. I can try to quantify that for you and come back with some number of what we've invested back in the business last year and what we have already invested this year and intend to invest going forward.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, I can get that from her and send it around to you guys.
Okay.
Okay, are there any other questions from the board? Emily, thank you so much for
Thank
the
you, Rick.
presentation. Thank you. Our next presentation is from Melissa Buns Carter for Unified Development LLC grant request.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I don't usually talk a lot this early. Okay. Okay. Unified Development LLC is a workforce housing development. I have been a loan officer for 27 years. Don't start counting my age, Don. For 27 years. And this is home for me. So this is truly passionate and dear to me because we don't have enough inventory on the market. And I have gone and done this presentation to many private organizations as well, trying to assist with funding, and it's something that I've had to do on my own to try to get this done because the time is now and the need is now. I hear that with so many of some of the presentations, as far as bringing in businesses, bringing in people, and actually attracting them, we have to have some place for them to live as well. And again, this is truly dear to my heart when we here in Lancaster County and the surrounding counties, when we do not have anything on the market that's worth purchasing under $250,000. That's truly a serious issue that we're having. I did have conversations with Governor Youngkin in person, and then also with his staffing, but the information that they sent me, the funding that they have, the geographical areas are outside of our scope. So it seems as if sometimes the rural areas are forgotten about when it comes to workforce housing. So I am and it can be done, and I've put a lot of work, time, and money into this project. And what I'm wanting to do with the funds that I'm requesting today is to assist with the infrastructure and site planning is what I'm after right now as far as surveying and water testing. Also, as we continue to go down the list with job creations, that's truly dear to my heart with the job creation and the skills, because when I'm talking to some of the local businesses, the problem that we're having is workforce. We don't have enough. Well, we have to teach them. So therefore, I've spoken with the school board as well, Northumberland and Lancaster, to have those kids with the model that will go up. I want some of the kids to come over to assist, with some of the infrastructure that's going on so that they can get a feel for what it's like to actually build. Yeah. Because of the fact that those skill sets are not used today in the household. We're not finding younger farmers anymore. And with aquaculture, when they came into EDC in Northumberland just a few weeks, last month, their problem with some of our local fishermen was workforce. They don't have anyone to assist with even getting fish off the boat. So we truly have a serious issue when it comes to job creation and also teaching our youth, passing that torch to them. So that's truly dear to my heart because we're surrounded by aquaculture and also agriculture. Yes, Roy, you have a question?
No, I'm
Okay.
just listening.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So also what's happening is that with this workforce, I had someone tell me, well, Melissa, you have to just sort of suck it up because of the fact that there is not going to be any workforce housing. And of course, that just pushed me right ahead. Yes, it is. And we can do it because of the fact that if we all think that we are not able to obtain workforce housing in 2024 in this century, then we have a serious problem because of the fact that it will continuously be ignored. And some of our youth that have finished college, even my hygienist, I want to know why you're back here. You went off to college, VCU, and now you're back. Because I cannot afford $2,000 rent in Richmond. So I had to come back home to mom and dad's house, is what she stated. So therefore, we have truly a serious issue, and I'm trying to bridge that gap with workforce housing under unified development. Questions for me?
Well, I know that the county is well aware, between the EDA,
Yeah.
the CBRAC, Lancaster 2035, workforce housing is a priority.
Yes.
And we know some of the challenges involved with that.
Yes.
So we're trying to do whatever we can to help with workforce housing. It's a huge priority. We know
Yes.
that.
Yes, and I appreciate my county just assisting me. That was one of the questions that Governor Youngkin asked me, other than, hi, how are you doing? Are you getting any opposition within your area? And of course, I said no.
No.
Yeah, no, because of the fact that my county is a need, and I appreciate the support that I'm getting from my county. It means a lot to me.
I have a question.
Yes.
Is this for a particular location that you're looking to develop, or is this sort of a broader initiative?
It will be,
Throughout the county.
this location is Lancaster in Lively.
In Lively? Okay.
Yes. Do you have,
Sorry, I might have missed that.
This is off of River Road.
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't see that.
This is,
address on the notes.
I want to start at home. And of course, it's needed all over. But, right now, it's dear to me to start here at home. So this is, will be in Lively. Yes.
Melissa, this is fantastic, and I've talked with Lincoln Boykin
Yes.
in the past about this, and he's spoken very highly of your project, so I'm excited to see you here. Can you speak to because I see you're asking for 10,000. I see that you've mentioned you've talked to Governor Youngkin. can you speak a little bit about the ask to Governor Youngkin?
Okay.
Because I'm wondering, I'm assuming there's matching funds that are probably being requested with whatever you're asking for from the state. So I'm trying to understand the greater scope of the project.
Okay.
And what is already, what your current requests already are, and how we fit into that.
Okay.
Because, if I did mention matching funds, I'm assuming you're part of it.
Okay, so what's happening right now is I am also in the process of doing a 501c3 because of the fact that that's needed with a lot of the matching money for Virginia housing, for any type of community development block grant. You'll need matching funds, and they are looking at a 501c3. So the problem that we're having is that unless you are a nonprofit, as far as a private, you have to look at investors because some of the Virginia housing, rural development, and also it was a few others that are actually out there, even with the grant programs. They want you to have a 501c3 nonprofit to do anything as far as some of the funding that they have. Yeah. So therefore, I have to look at private investors to get this done.
Sure.
Yes.
Sure. What do you expect?
And locals, and local banks as far as the CRA Act, the Community Reinvestment Act.
Sure.
So these are some of the potential way of actually assisting with funding. I do have a meeting with Primus next week to assist with this as well.
Fantastic. So what is the total amount of money that you're looking for from investors, grants?
A cool million.
Just a cool million?
Yeah, just a cool
Okay.
million. But,
So we're
you know,
we're dropping the bucket.
yeah, yeah. But as you can see, well, what I have budgeted out for is 860,300 is what. So I feel that I'm trying to keep it at a low cost, but also reachable goals.
Sure.
Because of the fact that if you're not going to attain it, then have reality, being a realist, that this can happen, but it has to be a reachable goal as well.
Got it. And then I see that you are using your own land as part of your match in terms of the
Yes.
the greater project. Do you anticipate recouping the cost of that through the project? Or, I mean, is that a donation you're making entirely to the project? Or are you anticipating trying to recoup what you've put in so far?
Well, eventually, as we continue, because it's 22 lots that will be out there, so of course, eventually I'll be recouping that. But as far as the model, that model, because of the fact that we're visionaries, we want to actually see what's out there. So most of what I'm donating is that, 2 acres where the model will actually sit until it's actually sold. Yes.
Got it. Got it. Okay.
And some people, because of the fact that we're actually, right now, it's not a subdivision, we're just going to be selling the lots. The only thing that I'm working on the HOA for that because it's primary residence only. However, I can't make someone stay in their home for 30 years.
Sure.
So therefore, I have to make sure that with the HOA, that I have those covenant and restrictions, because other than that, it would defeat the purpose if, you can just come in and buy the lot and do an investment home or a second home. That defeats the purpose of what we're doing. This is primary residence only.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you for helping me understand that. So in terms then of the, how are you going to, beyond the covenants and bylaws, in terms of these being affordable housing units, how do you see that coming to fruition if people are just buying the lots?
Okay.
Because the cost of building is,
Well, what happens is that once that model is up, what happens is that you come in and see the model, and you can tweak it because of the fact that with workforce, it depends on your income, your standard income. Of course, Virginia Housing says that 80% of the median income is like 86,000 when I looked at it yesterday, I think. So therefore, what will happen is that when they're looking at that model, okay, well, listen, I want to purchase that lot number 2, and I want to duplicate this model. So this is how we keep it workforce. because of the fact that, I don't want to let you know right now what we'll be selling them for, but it will be under $250,000.
It'll be under 200?
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome, okay.
Now, and of course, if you want to go and you want to add on a whole lot of bells and whistles, then, that's going to be an additional cost.
Sure.
Yes.
What partnerships do you have then? So it sounds like you, with the model and knowing what the cost is, you have a partnership with the developer already, I'm assuming, or contractors, excuse me.
Contractors, right, I'm the
Contractors.
developer.
Okay.
So I do have information with the contractors, and I'm looking at also my local builders. John Hendrickson and I have built and financed many homes within the Northern Neck. And also, I am a partner now with Cardinal Homes. Cardinal Homes used to be in Locksburg by the Get and Zip, and well, there's only one Get and Zip in Locksburg. But Cardinal Homes used to be right there. So therefore, I know their work, and I like the quality of some of their modulars as well. So I've partnered with Jeff Powell with Cardinal Homes.
Fantastic.
Yes.
So that you're also looking at local developer, or local contractors?
Local contractors mean a lot.
Yeah.
Yes, local contractors mean a lot, yes.
And that local jobs as well then?
And
So-
local jobs as
Perfect.
well.
For those
I've had
contractors.
one of my well drillers come into my office, and I've spoken with him, my surveyors. I've spoken with all of them because they're local. And I wanted also septic, yes. So it will be local contractors.
Sounds like you'll be putting a lot of your career to good use with the partnerships and relationships
Yes.
you've built.
Yes,
So-
yes, and it can happen. I was doing, and just to let you all know, with Workforce, I did one yesterday in West Point, and it was about 1,300 square feet, 300,000. It was the sales price, and we have grants also with Truist. We're doing $7,500 towards down payment or closing costs. And with this one, the seller is assisting with $7,500 with closing. The borrower is coming to the closing table next Tuesday with $3,865 to close. It can happen. It can happen. And the interest rate is the interest rate I have on that one is VA, so 5.99%, and his mortgage payment is $1,789, including taxes and insurance. Workforce can happen. Yes.
Perfect. I've monopolized the time. Does anyone
I don't have any other questions.
I'm over? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming. Okay, the next grant request is from That Damn Mary Brewery, and MJ Anderson is presenting.
It's just fun to hear my name out loud in the room so formal. I'm like, okay, and I am definitely going to have papers that I'll happily send to you. She says as she looks at John, if you need, further explanation or what we have going. In 2015, I guess, we started talking to Luck Stone Properties, and we started talking to them about, they have a nonprofit group that works with businesses. And we started talking about the fact that we wanted to run a business, but we wanted it to be more than just a brewery. So they helped us develop our mission, and I just took it. We put the mission right up on our wall, and we're clear. Deliver high-quality, full-flavored craft beer. That alone would have been good. In an environment that celebrates individuality and supports community. For about 30 years, I worked with the Northern Neck YMCA. It's actually where I met Sam, who used to be on my board with me. From that, I want to find the right language. My heart for what happens in a community and who can develop a relational, an open space, y'all come here and sit around the fire. Well, all that stuff resonated for me, quite frankly. So I had an investor talk to us, and we opened up in Gloucester. And I'm so proud to say that we have not ever entered a competition where we haven't brought home a medal. And it was a cool sort of revelation that when we shut down, when we realized this is not going to work in Gloucester, I need to go home. And we did just that. We're partnering now with other people and setting up a brewery right by Domino's with Turvey. And I want to talk about West Church Street and what's happening, that whole, like, get big and get bad. It's the coolest. It's really the coolest. And I guess my partnering with people is the way to make any business really happen, which means you get a new insight and some brilliant business plans and thoughts and ideas and the whole kit and caboodle. So basically, we came up with our first round, which said we need about $250,000 if we're going to start this. Well, Turvey, which is Christina and Richard, jumped on it with us. They were like, yeah, let's do this. I mean, it's right by the Domino's, and is there anything better than pizza and beer? So we set up a plan, but I told them we knew that our plan had to include more than just beer, that if we wanted it to stay and grow legs for a long time. So we got our ABC license to do distillation. We got our ABC license to brew beer. We got our ABC license to have wine on property and sort of hit the masses. And then if you do distillation, you got to have food. So part of our plan is the food truck and making sure we have that up and running and ready before. And we are going to distill everything from vodka to my grandfather was an old moonshiner. So yeah, I know, it kind of runs in the family, and who knew, right? And so our goal is to have a multi-level business that has other additional revenue streams than just beer. And obviously soda and that kind of stuff would be available. So when we do that, when we build out, we're going to build it in layers. And the first round's $250,000, and I'm back to that community thing and partnership that is so important in our mission. And Turvey, who owns Domino's, has invested $100,000 in of the $250 in our construction startup. Because my big thing is we got to be brewing. If we don't brew, then everything crashes at our ankles, right? So I've got to get the brewing up and going. And then we're hoping that you guys and a couple of other places that we're going to visit as well will be able to assist in $50,000 of it. And then the last $100,000 we're actually going to pay, because by that time we can be up and brewing. That covers the minimum cost. The other $100,000 for the stuff that looks good. The rooftop bar area and all those things come in that last round. So our goal is, again, to set up a model, and that in turn creates what we in the brewing business call model relationship. They will come and seek us out to find out whether or not it's viable here. They'll follow our financial path and they'll try to turn out so we can have what we've called an industry cluster here in our town. And the most important part to me is we're going to use local grains. We're going to use local hops as much as we can, but I don't know if you guys know, but hops are an integral part of beer, but Virginia's not a great hop growing state. So we're going to try our best, but grains we can totally get here. And in partnership, same thing. Try to keep the terroir of our community in our beer, in our distillation, in whatever we produce, quite frankly. And that's been a biggie. I want to talk about the economic, I told you about the 250, which is what our minimum goal was and how we were going to get there. So I want to talk about our economic impact. We're going to establish the industry cluster in Lancaster County that will generate further interest as potential brewers consider the Northern Neck as a viable option. It's like McDonald's, wherever they put up, a Burger King puts up right beside them kind of thing. And it's not bad for business, it's actually good. You want that. Brewery hopping is something that's just really kind of taken over. And I want them to see us as a viable area like 152 out in Charlottesville, or we want them to come and we want them to stay. We want to provide a needed establishment for local residents and impacting visitors' experience, the use of locally sourced ingredients. I just want to make sure I hit them all. Support local businesses, specifically restaurants and farming operations. Our emphasis will be on leveraging the terroir. We have our own flavor, right? Yeah. So we're going to throw that out there, man, and we're going to brew our stuff. Contributing to the revitalization of the West Church Street as a destination for local residents and visitors. So we'll do everything from open mic music nights to silent disco to your classic brewery stuff. That's just all about gathering, meeting with community, and it's the important part. And then the last thing that's really important is we align with you guys. And these are the places that we align. Infrastructure and facilities, the expansion of existing businesses, and attract a new higher wage industry sector. Quite frankly, we have budgeted to be in line with Richmond when it comes to how we're going to pay our staff. We're not going to do any full-time staff. I want to commit some things to you too. We're not going to do any full-time staff until we have seen balanced and that it works. But after that, there'll be at least 4 full-time people who are helping us manage that space and place. And one of them is going to be about social media. I mean, she's right. You got to have your voice out there. And that's not cheap, but important. A more business-friendly atmosphere across Lancaster and the Northern Neck, and effective and sustainable use of the region's natural beauty, resources, and tourism opportunities. So again, back to that mission, which is where I started, we want to work with this community, and we want to do it pretty badly. And we are grateful for Turvey stepping up and assisting with that. And their hand in revitalizing West Church Street. And that marketing's been brilliant. Have y'all seen that? I mean, brilliant. Anyway, I'll be happy to answer any questions you guys have.
MJ, did you say that Gloucester is closed now?
It is closed now.
It is.
We stopped brewing there in October. They're going to do their own
Okay, because
brewery.
you were next to
Bob
the
Jack?
restaurant. Yes, Mob
And
Jack,
you
yes.
would think that that would have worked, but we didn't, I learned a really valuable lesson. We didn't have certain things in the contract that I should have, like, they don't get to sell beer on their side. That's not my beer. And then what happened was, by the time we had won all the awards, they had already put the Bud Light and Michelob Ultra back on the drafts, and I just said, we're out. This doesn't make sense. We don't need to combat one another. We're in this together. But they gave me an opportunity to start and take a look, and the beer did exactly what we thought it was going to do. So I'm pretty stoked about that.
At one time down there, weren't you going to start canning or bottling your
Yes,
product?
and we
Or-
did. You know, it's really funny, since we've been open, we've survived, we've literally survived 2 rounds of cancer and the pandemic, when it hit, was ugly. And so during the pandemic, Ginger and myself, who's a co-owner in the business, we canned 65,000 cans, and it's one at a time by hand to make it
Wow.
work. But we will be doing canning at stage 3, so people can take the Northern Neck home. That's one of those things I'm like, you like what you taste? Well, you can only get it here. And then there'll be certain beers that we'll only sell right here, so that if you guys like it, come get it. And, we'll serve you and probably dance and have a good time.
Well, I do remember, it's probably 6 years ago or so, Historic Christ Church had one of their big functions for raising the roof.
Oh, yeah.
And that you were there with your product and a lot of help in the tent that you were in, and your beer was going like crazy. Everybody's going, you've got to go over there and taste their beer.
Oh,
It was,
thanks,
that was
Roy.
a very good affair with the music and everything else, but I just saw people just lining up at your tent there,
Yeah, and
and you had about 4 different flavors.
those are those days when you just like start handing people numbers. We're coming right to you. We're coming. Because what do you do? Thanks, I appreciate it.
Well, good, I'm glad thank you for the presentation. Any questions that
Yeah.
you all have?
Go ahead. You go first.
I'm curious what kind of food you plan to carry in your food truck.
We're going to do sliders and salads, and that way both are vegans and are, full-on carnivores. And sliders have really become a massive rage. We're trying to work with RCC and their cooking program with Hatley, and to get ourselves a chef.
And will you guys, I'm sorry, I have a follow-up really quick.
Yeah.
What will your hours be like? Will the food truck always be open when the brewery is open? They're kind of integrated like a restaurant, or will it be
Well,
different?
quite frankly, we don't know what's going to be needed here in the location, but when we first open, we're going to open at 11 and stay open until that night at 10.
Okay.
Maybe till 2, just depends on if people are sitting there. So as we always did, same thing down there, we just put open when we wake up, closed when we feel like it. Come on in, but usually it's Tuesday through, we try to do 1 brew day each week, and we try not to have, the way that it's being built is with a glass wall, so you can see right in how the brewing goes and stuff. But at the beginning of the cycle, when you're still getting used to your equipment, we want to make sure we're brewing when people aren't in there, because we hose you down with hot water, you're not going to like us.
Thank you.
Sure.
So what kind of space do you have on West Church Street?
It's
pretty
awesome.
tight.
Yeah, the building is really 5 buildings, 5 separate buildings that are together, and we are West Church Street 13. And that's about, actually, I think it's 1,300 square feet, I guess is what the scoop is. And so we have 900 for our brewing equipment, because we're going to we're not doing a 1-barrel system like Calio does. We're doing a 7-barrel, actually a 14-barrel system. That's how we're going to get distribution and stuff really rocking.
That seems tight. That is impressive.
Yeah, but what's nice is, again, they are so, Christina and Richard are so into this community. I mean, you know when you meet somebody and you're like, yeah, their head's in the right place. They're talking to RAL about, being a partner too and coming in. And in turn, that space is not space we rent, but we'll have the ability to walk through there for their pottery shows and that kind of stuff. We have the ability to be in there. They'll be paying the rent on it, and they know it. They don't care. They think it's awesome. Our people just get to wander at will. And so it's a nice, when you do that, it becomes a 2,800 square space.
That's awesome. That's really awesome.
Yeah, I think so too.
And how far are you guys into the process? It sounds like you've already contracted, leased.
We have. We use a local contractor, Nick, and we've done everything but some of the expensive stuff, like the grates, the drains, and the run of the concrete, and just realized the other day we may not have to run concrete, that we could just cut out where our drains would go and make sure that that's a big piece, is we don't want to tear up the place that we're staying in, so we would never put hops down the drain and that's why it's imperative that you have these grates, but those grates are like this big and they're $600. It's ridiculous. But it's worth it, because, we want to ultimately landlock our CO2 and that stuff too.
Gotcha.
That's our,
Got it. So in terms of this, we typically, the EDA gives grants of $10,000. We have a cap unless there's extenuating circumstances. If we were to have to adhere to that $10,000, would that be problematic? Or I assume you'd be able to continue on with development. What changes would you have to make to the scope?
we would probably not open a tap room right away. We'd start brewing for both distribution and support of the Music on the Half Shell series that we do in Lancaster. So lots of people are familiar with our beer based on that alone. So, yeah, well, we could do it, but we couldn't do all the pieces we want to do in the first round, which
Gotcha.
is to brew and open a tap room.
Perfect. Well, that answers my question. I have to commend you I was doing my research and seeing that you guys keep a sour kettle ale on tap at all times. And
All
thank you
times.
for that, for a sour.
Anytime.
Appreciate it.
It's one of my favorites. Can I
Yeah, I'm-
answer anything else, or are you
You know, I'm
guys good?
familiar with that area, and I know that there's very adequate parking, big parking lots around there.
Oh,
so
yeah, it's connected
that's not
right
gonna be
to
an
the
issue,
town's
but-
parking.
Yeah.
And Turvey Christina and Richard own that front space out there. I mean, it just really, I'm like, this is perfect,
Well,
just perfect.
And I like the fact that you'd also be supporting some of the food truck businesses. I remember when
Yes,
the
sir.
Kilmarnock Brewing opened many years ago, they had food trucks there, which were great. He didn't offer any food at that time when he opened the brewery. So that would be nice to have food trucks also.
Well, we're going to start with a food truck because we want to have food. We've never, ever had anybody exit our property driving drunk. And there's an important, it's our responsibility to make sure they don't. And food is a big, that's the biggie. People need to sop that stuff up somehow, you know? So, yeah.
Do we have any more questions from the board? MJ, thanks for your presentation.
See you at the brewery, guys.
Now, for-
Absolutely.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
MJ.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
For those of you that have presented, we go into a closed session now and discuss the merits of each of your requests, and then we will reconvene and come back into an open meeting. But while we're in closed meeting, you all cannot be in attendance. Thank you so much.
Emily, a follow-up question, just to make her life a little easier. Do you have a sense of maybe like a multiplier in terms of you trying to figure out the actual number of what you're matching? Like, so you're asking for 10,000. Do you think it's 10 times that, or I mean, I don't want to.
I would say it would be equivalent.
Okay.
In terms of funds.
Okay.
And money funds.
Gotcha.
Then, of course, we, like I said, tried our best to do a lot of things ourselves.
Sure.
To reduce costs.
Yeah.
As far as maybe equipment like installation and all
Yeah.
those things. So I would say money-wise, exact match, and then beyond that, our labor and time.
Opportunity cost is real, so. Okay. All right. That's helpful. Thank you. All right.
I missed that. Are we waiting and coming back in? or-
You can if you want, but I can text you. I think that's a busy.
Okay, I,
Well, 40's in. 40
okay, we're
is
gonna go
separate.
into a closed meeting now. I move that the Lancaster County Economic Development Authority enter into a closed meeting for grant request per section 2.2-3711, point A, point 6 of the Code of Virginia in 1950, as amended for the specific discussion or consideration of the investment of public funds where competition or bargaining is involved, and where, if made public, the financial interest of the governmental unit would be adversely affected. We need to have a motion to accept?
So motion.
Yeah.
Second.
Motion has been accepted and seconded. So I think we just should go in the order in which they were presented to us. with Lancaster County.
Do we want to talk a little bit more before we come out?
County Economic Development Authority adopt the following certification resolution. Whereas the Lancaster County Economic Development Authority convened in a closed meeting on April the 18th, 2024, pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote on the motion to close the meeting to discuss grant proposals in accordance with Section 2.2-3711.A.6 of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and whereas Section 2.2-3712 of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by the EDA that such closed meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law, now therefore be it resolved that the Lancaster County Economic Development Authority hereby certifies that to the best of each member's knowledge, 1, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements under the Virginia Freedom of Information Act were heard, discussed, or considered in the closed meeting to which the certification applies, and 2, only such public business matters as were identified in the motion by which the closed meeting was convened were heard, discussed, or considered in the meeting to which the certification applies. Before a vote is taken on this resolution, is there any member who believes that there was a departure from the requirement of number 1 and number 2, and if so, identify yourself and state the substance of the matter and why, in your judgment, it was a departure? Hearing no statement, I call the question. Mr. Carter, I certify. Mrs. Bryce Rowland?
I certify.
Mrs. McLaughlin?
I certify.
Mr. Rice?
I certify.
The certification resolution is adopted, and we are now in open meeting. So, during the open meeting, or during the closed meeting, we discussed Reese yogurt and determined that they don't need the money as required, that they should be able to self-fund that. So I would make a motion that we deny the grant request to Reese Yogi.
I second that.
It's been seconded. All in favor? Aye. Okay. As far as the grant request for Mrs. Bunz Carter for Unified Development, I think we realize that $10,000 is a need that she has right now to move this project forward, which is important to the county. So do I hear a motion to approve a $10,000 request?
Motion to approve, 10,000?
I second.
Motion's been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That Damn Mary Brewing has a request for $20,000, which of course is over our limit. We decided that $10,000 could be allotted to her because we were going to make an exception for unified development of the $15,000 cap that we'd had and actually award two $10,000 grant requests. So do I hear a motion that we exceed that, the $15,000?
I so motion.
And
Second.
seconded? Okay, so that Damn Mary's is approved for $10,000.
I think, do we need a second?
Pardon?
Do we need a motion for that Damn Mary? Because that was.
Well, I think Roy covered that in his motion, but
Yeah.
y'all didn't vote
Oh.
for the 10,000 and the 5,000 over the limit.
Yeah.
So just
We did not.
So we're,
vote.
Aye.
I mean, you had a motion and a
yeah,
second.
we had a, aye. Good.
Just so it gets in the minutes.
Okay, great. Good, I know we're running a little bit late. John, did you have any other business?
Simply that I'd like to modify how you guys do business, and I have some, what I think are some very good ideas about streamlining the application process, making it easier for you to make a decision, tracking the grants that are going out. That's why I had the individuals come today to present. I want to do that at every meeting, because I want to track our successes, track our failures, make it all public, make some changes to the landing page, and I just really wanted you guys to set me the task to do that. And that was going to be a topic for the July meeting.
Sounds good.
Okay.
That sounds good. Do you need us to do something?
Yeah. Just a head nod would be fine.
Yeah, sounds great.
Approval.
Yeah.
Encouragement. Okay. Anything else we need to do on this one?
Yeah.
10:15.
So, no other business to discuss? We call for adjournment. your motion?
Motion to adjourn?
Okay. Seconded?
Second.
This meeting is adjourned. Our next EDA meeting, please put it in your calendar for July 18th, 2020.